what is your advice to MSMEs and how to make Japan work? They always say in Japan, one of the most common phrases, "Muzukashi Desuki," which apparently everybody hears most often, "Muzukashi Desuki," which loosely translates to "that's difficult." Desune.
Thank you very much, Mr. Karnvir. And I have to also say konnichiwa to Makoto-san. Thank you very much. I thought of describing my experience in 8 P's, basically. The first P is people. Then the second P is punctuality. Third P is process. The fourth P is planning. Fifth P is product. And the sixth P is perfection. Then seventh P is procedures and practices. Then the last P is performance improvement through step-by-step approach.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to this second episode of our Discovery series. This is a virtual initiative that is designed by WTC together with BCIC. This is basically to promote cross-border insights, business insights, to help you understand, what are the nuances of doing business in a particular city or a country. And, I should say that, the first episode was on UAE and it went really well. We received encouraging responses from many companies. And now we are here with Japan, which is again an interesting destination to do business with. And we are partnering with World Trade Center Tokyo for this episode. So first of all, let me thank the Tokyo team for joining hands with us. Japan is definitely, it's one of the most exciting, I should say, disciplined, advanced, resilient economies. And we have a lot of stake from an Indian perspective. The market dynamics is totally different. The regulatory framework is totally different. But I think by now, we are more or less, we are able to understand and adjust and have a deeper understanding of how it works. And it happens the other way as well. I can see a lot of Japanese companies coming and investing in India, and it continues to happen. So today we are honored to be joined by an esteemed panel of experts. They are not only experts, but they are having that real life experience working with companies, Japanese companies, setting up businesses both in India as well as in Japan, and continuing to help or share their expertise to interested parties. So starting with starting with Mr. Jishnu Madhavan, or Jim as he is popularly known. So Jim or Jishnu, he's a co-founder of Indian IT Association of Japan and Nehen Technologies. So Jishnu, thank you so much for accepting an invitation, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to this program.
Thank you so much, George.
Next, we have Mr. Makoto Taitano. I hope I pronounced it rightly. He is the Chief Legal Officer for the World Trade Center Tokyo, one of our member World Trade Centers from Japan. And we are really happy that Tokyo has partnered with us today. And I think this could be one of the first opportunities where we are interacting with WTC Tokyo. So Mr. Taitano, it's a pleasure having you here. I welcome you as well to this session.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Mr. Parashuraman, sir. He's a former Senior Executive Advisor for Toyota Industries. And he's also the past president of the chamber. He is he's more like an advisor to all of us. So he has many years of experience working with Japanese firms, and I'm sure he'll share some of it with us today. So Parashuraman, sir, I welcome you as well to the session. I thank our wonderful, skillful moderator, Mr. Karnvir Mundre, who has been, instrumental for designing this series with WTC and the chamber. So Karnvir, I don't think Karnvir needs any introduction now, but most of the companies who have shown interest in the first episode, they have also subscribed here. But for the interest of the larger audience, Karnvir is he's a podcaster. He's also the founder and the chief ideation officer of Atharva Marcom India Limited. The profile is there. And he is also the chairman of the LSE, the London School of Economic alumni in Bangalore. So he dons multiple hats, and we have had the opportunity to work with Karnvir for a different series earlier. That was some time back, but that was targeted for SMEs or MSMEs. So now Karnvir is back in a new role, and we are really glad to see this series going well. I welcome Karnvir Mundre as well to this session. Let me place my sincere thanks to the BCIC team, particularly Mr. K. Ravi, who's the chair of the International Business Expert Committee, the secretariat team of BCIC, Colonel and Rajashree, and all their members and the committee members particularly for joining hands today, for joining hands with WTC for the series, and also your untiring support for our events. And we are really glad to do joint events with BCIC, and it's going really well. So thanks to you for all your support and spreading the word about the series within your community. I welcome once again all the participants. I hope today's session will be useful and informative to you. But I have a request to you, let this be just a curtain raiser. You listen to the panelists, participate in the conversation. We will share with you the coordinates maybe after the session. If you are interested, if you want to connect, these are the people to talk to. If you need any guidance, I'm sure they'll be happy to help us. So please continue this conversation even after the session. And I'm sure that you'll be doing well in the Japanese economy. So with that, I conclude, and I now invite Mr. Ravi from BCIC for his address. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Sorry, I was a little late. We had a seminar on manufacturing AI, and also we had the awards being given. We had one of the Japanese speakers also from Mitsubishi who spoke about AI implementation in their company. First of all, I would like to, I think WTC and BCIS have a very strong relationship because our president, Mr. Vineet Verma, is also on the board of WTC and also heading the WTC Bangalore and also the president of BCIC. That is one advantage we have. Apart from that, as far as I am concerned, I always feel Japan is a little close to my heart because that was the first country I visited in my lifetime when I was just a student. That apart, I also very happy today we have Mr. Parashuraman, who was our past president of BCIC, and also he can speak Japanese as good as any other Japanese, I would say. In fact, our Japan office is already there. We are doing a lot of activities. And then I think during his tenure as a president, we opened that office in Tokyo. And I was also the chairman of the International Business Committee. And a lot has happened. From then on, we have signed MOU with SMRJ. We have got delegation from SMRJ Japan. We had delegation from Osaka. I think a couple of our members are also going for the Osaka Expo 25. I think that this Discovery series, I think it's very nicely coined by you, Vivek, because you are discovering different countries, different people, different areas. It always makes sense. All of us, that discovery word gives you a lot of, when you imagine you're seeing something new. So it's always something fresh in your mind. So I'm sure I do not want to take much time. And probably today we have our eminent last episode also I was very much there, Vivek, and then it was also very well conducted by Mr. Karnvir Mundre, and I think we want to hear more from them. With this small introduction, I'd like to thank you for having given an opportunity to speak to you all.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. In fact, I just want to correct. This series has been named by Karnvir himself.
Oh,
so,
I see.
Yes, I think due credits goes to him as well.
Yes, okay, very good.
Right. So with that, I hand it over to Karnvir and the panel. Over to you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Discovery series. And that is exactly what we are trying to do, to discover nations, because while there's a lot of information on the internet and in a lot of places, but what no one can replace is human to human information and human to human contact, and that is what the true information, the true knowledge which one kind of misses in all the secondary knowledge that one normally gains. And there's also one more aspect which is very, very interesting and important for our series, is because most of the information that you get online, most of the information that you get on YouTube or in secondary sources, I believe they always have an agenda, either to promote or to de-promote or to discourage or to encourage. They always have an agenda. This is a source where we are all meeting as friends. We are all meeting as genuine advisors, as people who have the experience and knowledge, and we are here to genuinely help, advise, guide, to save people a little bit of trouble when they want to expand. And we are doing this especially for the MSMEs, because the MSMEs are one of the most dynamic groups in India, but also little sensitive. They need little bit more, hand holding as compared to large companies. So from that, I mean, Japan is especially, of course, extremely interesting for India. We've had long, connects, conversations, cultural links between India and Japan. So I'll start without, taking too much time. I'll start with Jishnu, who has cracked the Japanese challenge, and has been extremely successful in Japan. And he has done this not now, but 25 years ago. So, Jishnu, tell us, what they say is Japanese is like bonsai, which needs patience, pruning, and constant care. But most Indian MSMEs, they're like, they need fast growing bamboo with not slow ornamental plants. So how do you align these two interests of bonsai with bamboo?
Okay, so just for the audience, my name is Jishnu Madhavan. I've been born in India, but I've been living here for last 23 years plus in Tokyo. And I've been to several ventures in partnership like with IT, manufacturing, and hospitality, etc. And I think for the past, from last 11 years, there is a big visibility for India, for the Indians also in Japan, thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, and his bonhomie with Mr. late Abe, which has strengthened India's interest with Japan, and also the stories of Toyota and Suzuki, etc., and has been taking our interactions into a different level. And recently, the new ambassador of India to Japan, His Excellency Mr. C.B. George, he has visited all the 47 prefectures. First time an ambassador has done that, and he has met all the governors and mayors of all these prefectures, and each prefecture is like bigger than an Indian. The budget has more bigger than Indian states, so you can understand the potential. They have the budget, but no, there is no visibility. No country has reached them out to come to invest or something like that, which has been happening now. So, and as you know, the Japan population is also decreasing. So India has a lot of opportunity because we have surplus of young generation now who has into IT, skilled workers. Nursing is another area where Japan is looking at, and manufacturing, construction. So there is a lot of opportunity for India in Japan, and it's on the right track. And it is just that India has to mold, as you said, we have to mold that mindset, because Japan, it takes time. Not one, not two, not three. It takes 3, 4, 5 meetings to even to come to the talking point of what we have to do, how to do business. It's more that they're watching you and to understand what is your interest in Japan and how long you plan to live in Japan and why Japan. So they want to understand you. So it takes time for them to understand. And once that bonding comes, it's a very long-term business. So that patience, we need to have that patience. As an Indian, I always say you have to have the patience and that discipline. Just go with the flow. The process is 1 to 10, follow 1, 2, 3 to 10, not jump from 3 to 6. It doesn't work here. So yeah, follow the process, be patient, have discipline. So that is what I want to talk about this.
So you were also an MSME, and how did you, how come you were able to, crack the Japanese, challenge?
As I said, I was here, like in the initial first 2 years, it was very tough for me also to understand, because I was also a vegetarian coming with no drinks. It doesn't work that way. So I had to mold myself to the Japanese environment slowly, patience. I had to speak slowly. And there are a lot of business culture, business formalities, which we need to learn. Even the way the communication goes from one level to second level to the higher level, there is a big difference in communication, like san to sama. So that is a big difference. So we have to, it comes, but if you have an interest of living here long term, the first 2 years is the toughest period. After that, and once you know the little bit of the Japanese language, things will work easy. and we can always feel that this country has something. So it's a good feeling actually, and a value for life. So that is where I thought, okay, this is the right time, and no much Indians has come here, and let me live here and do good things.
So, Mr. Makato Taitano, you're with the legal. You're a legal expert, and the legal is something which all the MSMEs really need. Japanese law is something which it always intrigues a lot of people, and they find it sometimes difficult to understand. So, what is your advice, to the MSMEs who sometimes hear about interesting Japanese laws like the Matibo law of 2008, where men must be under 85 centimeter of waist and women must be under 90 centimeters, and companies can be can be fined for that. So we hear some interesting laws in Japan, but give us a perspective for the MSMEs. Give us a guidance or a pathway how MSMEs should approach. What kind of a company structure they should have, what they should do when they to enter Japan.
Thank you very much. Just to introduce myself, my name is Makoto Taitino. I'm the Chief Legal Officer at WTC Tokyo. In addition to working for WTC Tokyo, I also work for the Veribus law offices. The law offices is actually, it backs WTC Tokyo. The CEO of WTC Tokyo is the managing partner of the law firm that I work at. So, in addition to WTC Tokyo, also WTC Osaka, but both the WTCs in Japan are backed up by the law firm that I work at. So, because I work at the law firm, I also work at WTC Tokyo as the Chief Legal Officer. And in regard to your question about the legal aspect of how Indian companies should approach Japan, right? That's a good question. I primarily was thinking of in anticipation of today's this series. I was primarily thinking of things that I should maybe warn Indian companies of when first trying to enter the Japanese market from a legal compliance kind of perspective, right? And from that perspective, I had 3 points of advice, I think. First thing is, I think it's really important to first talk to a very good immigration lawyer that knows Japanese immigration law. Okay. And because it might be the same in other countries entering other markets, but I think it's really important to talk to a good immigration lawyer in Japan. And the reason is based upon your business plans, how you expect to build up your business, who you want to employ, what kind of structure you want to have. It all kind of depends upon the immigration aspect, is my advice. So I think it's important to first talk to a good immigration lawyer, and then based upon your plans, he'll propose a certain visa that you might be able to get in order to bring executives over or somebody to build up the business in Japan. And then based upon that, I think it's important to decide on what kind of entity you want to form in Japan, how much you want to invest, where you want to have an office in. So my personal experience and advice is to first talk to a good immigration lawyer. And second thing, I think it's really important to have a good tax advisor in Japan, even before you actually form a company, because I think you need to understand the tax structure in Japan first. And then second, after you form up the company, there's certain deadlines to make certain tax filings. And if you miss those, you might not get certain tax benefits. So I think it's really important to talk to a good immigration lawyer, also talk to a tax accountant at the beginning, at the outset. And then based upon that, I think, of course, you first need to do your homework, learn about the Japanese market, what opportunities there are, and then, make a rough business plan, then talk to these experts. And then based upon that, you can decide on, what kind of entities you want to form up in Japan. And then the third thing I think is really important is to have a good business partner in Japan. This is really important, not just from, a business perspective, but also from a legal kind of perspective. It's really important. And the reason is, when you're first actually setting up your company, and when you want to, and at the initial stages, you actually need to have you need to have a bank account in Japan in order to invest your initial investment into the company. But in order to do that, you actually need somebody that resides in Japan to help you out opening up the bank account. A foreign national actually cannot just come and open up a bank account. You actually need somebody that resides in Japan to do that. So I'm pretty sure Jishnu is, can help out Indian companies in doing that. But that's really important to have somebody in Japan that can help you out, setting up the initial formalities. So those are, I think, 3 points of advice that I think is really important for Indian companies to know and to prepare for.
I just wanted to 1 minute jump to Jishnu because you mentioned his name. You talked about finding a good partner. Jishnu, you have found good partners in Japan. How did you do that? How do you find a partner in Japan?
So, no, as per the company thing, just I want to add few more points with Makoto-san. As an Indian, there are 2-3 options of making a company here. It's almost similar like how we make a company in India. The process, everything is the same. But in Japan, there is a big different structure altogether. An Indian company can have a branch office or a subsidiary in Japan, and also start a corporation. It's called KK, Kabushi Kaisha. And the process, everything is the same. You have the article of association, which is called Teikan, and we have the memorandum of association or something. It's called Tokibo Toho. But the real part is in Japan, the president, there should be somebody called president. He acts on behalf of the company. And he is actually the company, because anything and everything, he finally ends up to him, because he is the powerful guy. And the president, if any issue, everything, it is the president who is responsible. So when an Indian company start a Japan operation, this president position, the Indian can also sit in India and become the president of the company. But the problem would be any issue the president is responsible for all the law, everything. It's not the company. Company is president. So that is a big difference between India and Japan. And there is something called seal. It's called hanko, where in Japan it is still like a very old traditional way the structure is formed. It's called hanko. This hanko is your president's name. The president is called Daihe Torishimako. So the president name and the company name would be put on the hanko. And this hanko is the final. Any contract, everything, it's not the digital signature or your normal writing signature. It is the seal is most important. So that's a big difference between, and the seal is in the custody of the president. So that is a big difference in the company structure between India and Japan. Rest is almost same. Like you can start a company with a nominal capital. There is nothing like you have to put this or something like that. But for your visa and as he said, Makoto-san said, for visa, everything, I think some $200,000 would be the minimum requirement to get your full company as a company established as a corporation. But absolutely, it is minimal. There is no thing that, okay, this should be your capital or something like that. You can start a company with a minimum money. So that is one aspect for Indians to know. So they don't have to worry too much. And as Makoto-san said, you have a legal lawyer. He can also act upon as your company thing. He can give his his office as your address for opening a company. So that way, the legal officer can always help you out. And for the visas, there are several type of visas. For a investment visa, you get a business manager visa as an investor visa. And for your engineering and all, it's called specialist in engineer and humanities and all. And there are skilled visa, student visa. And also for an Indian company to dispatch from India to Japan, there is something called intra-company transfer. So there are several ways to handle the visa. Yes, as he said, as Makatosan said, we should have a hire a lawyer or a known guy here. It's pretty simple. It's a process is there. Everything is on paper. You just fill up the form correctly. There is no way to reject it. 23 years, none of our visa was ever rejected in Japan. I can openly say that because the process is simple. You just follow it. Give the documents what they ask for. No problem. It will come. It will take around 4 to 6, 8 weeks normally to get a visa. And it's the visa will be a form called COE. It's called Certificate of Eligibility, which the immigration will give it to you, and you can use that and take it to the consulate in either Bangalore, Chennai, or wherever in India, and they will stamp the visa on your passport. So you can come. Everything is smooth. Everything is on everything is 1 to 10. Just follow it. And as a partner, it takes as I said, it takes time to become not to for a Japanese to trust you. It's not that easy. So he will wait. We have to be patient. So I was initially, it was tough for me also, but yes, Japan changed me a lot, and I have the patience now. So that's the real word for to do business in Japan. Have the patience.
Have the patience, says Jishnu, and we want to know from Mr. Parsuram also, who has had so much of an experience in Japan, almost 20, 25 years, and has led some of the and worked with some of the biggest names and case studies, and one of the iconic Indian partnerships, the Toyota partnership, in between Japan and India. Mr. Parsuram, tell us what is your advice to MSMEs and how to make Japan work. They always say in Japan, one of the most common phrases, "Muzukashi desuki," which apparently everybody hears most often, "Muzukashi desuki," which loosely translates to "that's difficult." So it's a very polite way of saying no. But Mr. Parsuram, tell us, how did you make people say yes, and how give us your advice to the MSME community, how they can not hear this phrase, "Musukasi Desuki." Desune.
Thank you very much, Mr. Karnvir. A very, very good afternoon, all. First of all, thank you so much to Mr. Vivek George and Mr. Karnvir for inviting me. And I have to also say konnichiwa to Makoto-san. Thank you very much. I have a lot of experience in working with Japanese, almost 27 years now. I've worked with largely Toyota. In fact, I was involved in establishing the first unit plant of Toyota together with Mr. Vikram Kirloskar and team, setting up the transmission business. Then 2014, I moved to join the board of Toyota Industries Engines to set up the engine plant. And then I worked in various areas. I was also the executive advisor to Toyota Kirloskar Motor after my term at the Toyota Industries Engines. So, I thought of describing my experience in 8 P's, basically. The first P is people. Then the second P is punctuality. Third P is process. Fourth P is planning. Fifth P is product. And the sixth P is perfection. Then seventh P is procedures and practices. Then the last P is performance improvement through step-by-step approach. So, in fact, it takes a day or two to share even my little experience. But, I will try my level best to give a macro image. So, Japanese, everything is people. People and people. In fact, I was listening to my former president of Toyota Motor Corporation in one of the quality circle forum in Japan. He said the shortest way for companies' prosperity is human development, developing people. There is no other shortcut. I still, it echoes me. I always try to relate. And people building, how do you build your right hand, left hand? Then, normally, our culture is when somebody is not performing, we always say that the boss is not performing because it is the boss' responsibility to develop the subordinate. Normally in India, we try to generally blame that you are not doing your job. But I think that kind of ownership and responsibility is amazing there. And, it is something like Guru Sishya Parampara. The boss teaches the subordinate on the job development step by step, and he is, trained on the tacit knowledge and also the practical knowledge, and is molded up. In fact, one of the interesting things is if you get scolded by the boss, you will feel very lucky. Normally a boss doesn't scold you, then you are ignored, which means you are given up. So that's something that we should understand. And interestingly, everything is bottom up in terms of people development, promotional. For example, people are promoted from the bottom level to the next level to the next level. So you don't see much of recruitments happening at the senior levels. It's very rare what I've seen. Everybody is developed from the bottom level so that, that knowledge, experiential learning is retained. And, they walk the talk. When the top person, as I think Mr. Jishnu also talked about the president, I think one of the biggest problems happened in Toyota in 1950s. The first person to put the paper was the president himself. I think I heard Mr. Kichiro Toyota. So I think that kind of ownership, walk the talk, is something amazing. And, they reflect it in several ways. And second thing is punctuality. Everything is punctual. Meetings, appointments, schedules. In fact, we plan our meeting 6 months ahead. In fact, in Toyota, my calendars have been booked 6 months ahead. And there is no kind of, trying to enter the boss's cabin without any appointment. That is something unusual. Once you have a good relationship and rapport, that's a different thing. But, entering someone's cabin or some kind of an unplanned meeting is not at all acceptable. Where in India, it's a very, very normal thing. Just walk in. So I think everything has to be planned. And what you have to talk, even the customs, for example, you invite someone for a meeting, how you should, take care of him, and, a lot of things are there. And everything is time management. Even the meetings are also, mostly it is formality. Before the meeting, everything is completed. We call it as Namavashi, a process of mutual consensus building, which means, any kind of decision making goes through several steps. But once it comes for the final meeting, it is only a formality. But before the meeting, a lot of spade work needs to be done. I think we call it as the process of Namavashi. Then the third P is process. I think process over the result. Everything is process, which means, we say in Japanese, monozukuri comes from itozukuri. A good person makes a good product. Similarly, a good process leads to a good result. I think we always say that, a process is good, then the result is always good. And we always reflect the process and the result. Result also should be good, process also should be good. If result is good, process is NG, that is not a sustainable process. So how do you migrate after reflecting process is also good, result is also good? I think that is the best landing point. Then PDCA, I think is the most important thing in the process. I think what you learn from the failures, we always say in Toyota, the bad news first, which means what you learn from the failures. So PDCA is always rotated. Jovially, I used to say in India, PDCA means please do not change anything. Nothing changes. So I think PDCA is how frequently you learn from your failures and reflect it. And we say yokoten in Japanese, in Toyota especially. One learning from one plant is, horizontally deployed to thousands of locations across the globe in no time. I think that is the power of learning. And again, in the process, Orenso is very, very important. Orenso is Okoku, Rendraku, and Sodan. Okoku is reporting, Rendraku is information, and Sodan is discussion. This is a very, very, very important process. Communication is everything. Everything, unless it is communicated, has no meaning. So it always happens from the top to bottom in a very planned and structured way. Next is the planning, the schedule management to micro detailing, reaction plans to catch up delays, and occurrence countermeasures, not the just countermeasures. Occurrence countermeasures means once you take a countermeasure, the problem does not repeat anymore, which means how do you go to the root of the problem? I think that is most important. Then of course, the next piece, product. Everything starts from safety first, quality must is our slogan. And we say Jikote Kankit, which means maker quality at source. How do you make every product right the first time and every time? I think this comes through a deep training. I think very, very deep cultural foundation lot of training, I think human development activities. Then how do you achieve FMEA, failure mode analysis, which means how do you improve the process continuously through design for manufacture and fitness for use. Always quality should have a value for itself. Then next P is perfection, I for details. In fact, I always think the Japanese eyes are extremely sharp because of kanji. Japanese language consists of hiragana, katakana, and kanji. While hiragana and katakana are simple alphabets like English, you can learn. Kanji is very, very pictorial. There are more than 6,000 kanjis. Makoto-san can say, I don't know, God only knows. So it is very easy to write a single stroke kanji, two stroke kanji. There are even 40 strokes, 50 stroke kanji. And you have to reproduce the same kanji in the same stroke sequence. Otherwise, computer also will not recognize. So in the process of writing and learning and reading and forgetting the kanji, the eyes are extremely, extremely sharp, eye for details. Whereas I always feel Indian engineers, eye for details is very weak. Whereas the ears are extremely strong because of many languages. Maybe the Japanese ears are slightly weak because of one language. Hope Makoto-san will agree with me. And, that is what I wanted to say about the product. Chikote Konketsu, design for manufacture, perfection, then continuous improvement, one step at a time. In fact, they always believe one is better than zero, two is better than one. We jump 10, 15 steps, then we fall down 20 steps. I think this kind of stability is amazing in Japanese. Once you improve one step, stabilize, then go to the next step. Learn from the reflections of that step. What went well, what did not go well, how do you reflect it? I think that is how that continuous improvement, I think the eye for details. Then I think the last and most important, this is how the Kaizen, quality circles, everything comes through continuous improvement involving people. How to bring the creativity out of people. I think they always believe that, challenging spirit. People can stretch beyond the normal dimensions. Sky is not the limit. So that is how the creativity is blossoming there. And final, the most important thing, procedures and practices. I think always when I talk about Japan, standardization and standards. Everything has got standard and everything is standardized. I think this is what really makes them great because they don't learn from the scratch. Once they achieve something, then it becomes a standard. Then you always look at a higher target, then understand the current situation, understand the gap, then you go to the next step through deep root cause analysis and countermeasures. And always rules, when we talk about rules in Toyota, there are three important things. You can always solve any kind of a factory situation by understanding three things. One is make a rule or a standard. Second step is the rule is to be standardized. Then the rule should be easy to follow, which means if I cannot follow the rule, my subordinate cannot follow the rule. So that is most important. Everybody follows the rule. Third is rule is available. Rule is also easy to follow. Still rules people don't follow means people are not trained or educated. So all the three are very, very important. So my message to MSMEs to setting up business in Japan, I think it's very, very important to do the spade work. Go with the thorough preparation. As Makoto-san said, understand the big picture, the market situation, going to the root cause, then prepare the ground very, very clearly. Don't go with the vagueness. Then make a clear-cut plan. I think normally we say 80% planning and 20% execution is Japanese. So much of detailing. Therefore, I think once you go with a clear picture, clear plan, then a clear structure, then I think the conversation becomes very easier. And, we can go step by step. We cannot jump 100 steps. So we'll have to do something, establish, then go to the next step. In fact, I was extremely, extremely impressed last month I was in Osaka, representing Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce. I had more than 15 meetings with the city government of Osaka. And I was extremely surprised to see the Kansai prefecture, which is, largely by MSMEs. They are contributing to $1.1 trillion economy, 1/3 of almost Indian economy. Amazing to see those kind of MSMEs contributing, the kind of industry academia connect, and the kind of government support through Osaka Chamber of Industry and Commerce. I think all these things are very, very fascinating. So I'll definitely look forward to catching up more in detail. To the sparsity of time, I stop here. Thank you very much.
No, that was wonderful, Mr. Parsuram, and I think we're already getting so many people appreciating, and it was a mini MBA almost in 5 minutes, which you gave everybody. The amount of knowledge people are still absorbing it, and I'm sure that they will once we put it online, they will. Like to replay this again and again because all that you spoke cannot be absorbed in one go. But I would like to, talk about a little bit, handhold the MSMEs a little more. And, I would like to understand, and this goes to the panel, the complete panel. Suppose an MSME wants to enter Japan and he lands at Tokyo airport. What should he do for the next 10 days or 15 days? How should he start? It's I would like to come little bit, more on the ground level and have the MSME maybe we start with Mr. Jishnu and also, Mr. Makato and then Mr. Parsuram to give us a perspective on really like after landing or you think or the 1 month before landing what exactly you should do because there are some people who have no exposure to Japan. They have exposure to UK, to the English speaking world, but they don't have an exposure to Japan and they would like to open up that market. So Mr. Jishnu, tell us the first 10-day plan for an MSME because if you see the chat, we have a lot of MSMEs, from construction to IT to products interested in Japan. What should he do? Your voice is muted, please.
As Mr. Parashuraman sir said, just make the process first. First, if you are entering Japan, know about Japan. You can go to BCIC in Bangalore. You can go to the JETRO offices. They always gives a lot of information. You can enter the trade section in the consular offices in India. There are many Japanese consulates in India. So go with them, go with these kind of people who have experience, learn from them rather than just coming to Tokyo Narita Airport or Haneda Airport doesn't work much because you feel really helpless because everything is different. Everything is different. So even to get one appointment, it's not possible. So before coming, prepare. My advice is prepare, get your connections well, get your appointments fixed because there is no unplanned meeting like we just go down and say okay I want to meet you. No, it doesn't happen in here. So
but how do you get your appointments fixed? Like, should you send? I'm being very basic over here because should you send emails? Should you introduce
yes, email is the best. Email is the best. Then the reply will come. Definitely, they want to meet you. The reply will come in a day's time or 2 days time. Definitely, it will come. And they want to give an appointment. They'll give you the appointment. So make few appointments. So to connect these people, yes, as I said, you have to go to this JICA or JETRO because they really help these Japanese these kind of public companies really help people to set up businesses. Vice versa, they also sent Japanese people to India also. They really help them to get these appointments and other stuffs. So it's best is to get a proper planned structure schedule, proper planned appointments and come down here. Otherwise, it will be a waste of time.
And should one always start with Tokyo or introduce us to the geography a little bit? Is Tokyo the place to start or should one start in Osaka or some other city?
It depends. There is nothing like Tokyo or something like that. It can be from Kansai, Niigata, all. It's Japan. All the industry is spread around. Nagoya is one of the biggest. Not Tokyo. Nagoya is one of the biggest. So Aichi Prefecture is one of the biggest. So it's where you want to also. We have to make the Tokyo is most cosmopolitan and Osaka. These are the two big Yokohama. These are the three big prefectures or whatever cities in Japan. So it depends where and which industry. It's like the auto would be more Niigata or Kansai area. Then if it is the agriculture or something like that, it will be Niigata side. So it depends on what area exactly you want to. If it is IT and other things, it will be mostly Tokyo, Osaka, or Hiroshima or Hokkaido. So it depends what exactly is your portfolio and what you want. There is nothing
Uh,
like Tokyo. Tokyo, the other prefectures are also equally good.
Excellent. And for those listening, Mr. Jishnu is introduced more as an IT person, but he also has a food business, and some of the best Indian restaurants in Japan are run by Mr. Jishnu and his partner. So if you feel missing Indian food in Japan, then you have to go to the
No, yeah,
restaurant of.
you will not miss, yeah, Indian food in in Tokyo for sure.
So
Yes.
coming to Mr. Mokato, sir, tell us about, what do you think the first few things a person should do when he's entering Japan? Not knowing anything, the MSME coming to Japan, guide the MSME for the first few days or 2 weeks or month, what he should do. You're on mute, sir.
Sorry. I really agree with Jishnu about I think preparation is really important before you actually come to Japan. As Ms. Parasuraman stated, right, Japanese people really require appointments in advance. And without an appointment, you really can't really meet people. And as Jishnu said, Jetro is very, very helpful. So yes, I do strongly recommend that people go and talk to Jetro and try to set up appointments in Japan. And yes, emailing is that's also a very good way to do it. But if there's like a specific company that they want to meet, if Jetro can't arrange something, if they email, if it's not arrangeable, actually WTC Tokyo, we actually help companies out to we help companies match foreign companies, Indian companies to match with Japanese companies. So if there's like a specific company that you really want to talk to, that you really want to meet, we might be able to help. So if they want to maybe if they need assistance in regard to that, they can reach out to their local WTC in India, and they'll be connected to WTC Tokyo. So but yes, I really agree that preparation in advance is really important. And you'll be really lost in Japan if you just kind of come and set foot in Japan. And one aspect of Japan is unfortunately a lot of Japanese people are not very good at English. So and it's without Japanese language abilities, so like just stepping foot in Japan, you will have a very difficult time, I think. So I think preparation in advance is very, very important when coming to Japan. And as to where to go to, as unfortunately, it's basically the same advice. But as Jishu said, it really depends on what you want to do in Japan. What kind of business you want to do, what kind of markets you want to get to. It's of course, the most businesses are in Tokyo or in Osaka, but there's a lot of really interesting things in the other prefectures too that might actually match the MSME's business needs. So so I think talking to Jetro though, I think is the first step, and I think it's really important. And just coming to Japan, I don't think it's really going to achieve much. So preparation, making appointments in advance, having a specific purpose in advance I think it's really important.
So one thing I throw it to the panel is, and Mr. Parsuram, maybe you could answer this to begin with. How do we know whether a product has a market in Japan? Because there are so many people who want to, they believe that they would like to expand, that especially MSMEs, they would like to expand into Japan. What is your advice to them? How should they understand whether they have a market, whether they have a potential? Because on the one hand, Japan is a great economy. On the other hand, we hear a lot of I may use this word with little hesitation, but a negative news that, Japan is, the population is declining, demand is declining, and so on. So how do we, but certain products have done very well in Japan, especially I believe, Ayurveda products and, in some of Indian products are seeing a lot of good demand in Japan. So how should we discover whether we are a good fit, whether an MSME is a good fit for Japan?
Thank you. I think it's very, very important. You're able to hear me? Yeah. You're able to hear me, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. I think the first and foremost, I think the product research is very, very important. So we have companies like SMRJ, the Small and Medium Research Japan. BCIC has collaborated and we have signed a MOU with them. So which means today, any information about any company in Japan or any product, you can reach it through BCIC because we have a seamless communication. So we have a kind of a matchmaking, which means we send almost 10 companies every year, MSMEs, to the CEO meetings to Japan through SMRJ. Even the next batch, we are looking at September. So we're already collecting the kind of invitations. So which means we have a very good networking. So we can look at the matchmaking and they can set up some 10 or 15 meetings with those Japanese companies who are making similar products. In fact, we can send these proposals through BCAC, to SMRJ, and SMRJ will find out what kind of companies are interested. And you'll have, array of companies, 10 or 15 meetings can be set up. Before that meetings, we can have pre-meetings over the online platforms. So that, before they land up in Japan, they have a complete understanding of what kind of products, what kind of businesses. So I think this is a great platform to connect with. Answering to the previous question, I just wanted to add 2 more points to what Mr. Jishnu and Mr. Makato said. Another important thing about Japan is, people worry about food and language, right? Because Japan is a little bit isolated because of only these 2 factors. Otherwise, I would say it is one of the best places ever on earth. And I think the food also, I am a pure vegetarian. I don't even not tasted fish also. But I had the best time in Japan. In fact, even now I love the, omochi and all. And Japan has got everything. Fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, fresh milk. And if you mix the Indian rice and the Thai rice, you get Japanese. Sorry, you get the Japanese rice and Thai rice, you get the Indian rice. So in the ratio 50-50. So Indian rice also you don't miss. Of course, now in all the supermarkets, it is available. So I think everything is so fresh. You can get a fantastic vegetarian food. You can get an excellent curd rice for some of the South Indians. The curd rice or idlis, whatever you want, you can make it. And, and everything is so fresh. Second is the language. In fact, before going to Japan, I would advise level 3 is very, very easy for Indian people. Level 3 is a very, very basic level. Level 4 and level 3 Japanese. So starting from basic greetings, you say konnichiwa, ohayo gozaimasu, how do you say, all those basic food and all those things. I think this will be a good impression to them also. You're also taking some efforts. And I think it's a very interesting language. And I think the best part is Indian grammar of all regional languages, Japanese grammar, that structure is same. That's a great thing. That's why the Indian people pick up Japanese language much faster. Indian people can easily pick up the Japanese language because the grammatical sequence is same. We say Jumban is order, is same. Therefore, unlike English, for example, English you say, I am going to Tokyo. In Canada you say, Nanu Tokyo ogidini, which means the order is reverse. In Japan, boku wa Tokyo e ikimasu, watashi wa Tokyo e ikimasu, which means same as the Indian regional language. So this is putting us in a very, very strong platform. And I think once you learn the very basic Japanese and some of the basic concept of what is available in Japan food, it will break your psychological barrier. And for information about MSME, I think SMRJ is a great platform. In fact, they're amazing. You send a mail today, immediately same day you get the reply. And with so much of details. And the websites are so fantastic. If you open any Japanese website, be it Osaka, Nagoya, Tokyo, I think all these industry trade bodies, they get fantastic information, contact numbers. And once you send information, as Mr. Jishnu said, immediately you get a fantastic reply. They are so responsible. I think customer is everything and they care so much for you. In fact, the kind of support they give the Japanese is something mind-boggling. You say somebody in Japan that I'm struck, please help me out. They give their life and help you out. I think in spite of the language constraint, I think these are all some of the great things that you can enjoy in Japan. So therefore, all these preparations would put you in a sounder platform. Thank you.
Wow, people have got so encouraged that they're like messages coming just continuously about why aren't Indian companies they are missing out on the Japanese business culture, like in basic aspect and knowledge. So they are finding all our conversation and the panelists what they are speaking so useful. So one aspect which in the last 5-7 minutes which I would like to touch upon, because there's so much to talk about, but we need to conclude it and kind of compress it, is the lifestyle. So some of you, especially Mr. Jishnu, one is that there's a request to know the name of your restaurant. So some in your answer, please let people know that as well. But apart from that, I would like each of the panelists to take 2 minutes to talk about the lifestyle of Japan, because somebody who comes to Japan, when I say lifestyle, please tell us your experience about, if you have children, what do you think of the schools? How should people start with the schools? Basic grocery shopping. How do you find an apartment or an accommodation? What is the process, and what kind of maybe rental agreements are there? I know I'm asking a lot for 2 to 3 minutes, but just 3 minutes from each panelist would give everybody a flavor about the real life experience in Japan. Maybe we could start with Jishnu.
Okay, so once like an employee here in Japan, as an Indian employee, he gets a lot of benefits like social insurance, where the insurance is covered for him and his family. One thing. Second thing, the schools, there are Indian CBSE schools and Indian international schools, and also international schools. Indian CBSE is affordable, and it's very easy admission process. You almost will get it. They will never say no to that. International school, they have their own set of standards, so they will go through that process. And for the food and other stuff, you get a lot of groceries. Almost all Indian items are, especially for the last 2-3 years, almost all Indian items are. We are even including mango, Alfonso mangoes. We are receiving it right now. So, don't worry about the food. It's a very peaceful country. You can walk. Your kid can walk in midnight, and you feel safe. He will come back home. And it's a very peaceful country. Value for money, for a little expensive, but you get that value for money. Security, which everybody, you don't feel that somebody will hold a knife or a gun on you. So don't worry, the trains are all on time. It's a bit crowded, but trains are all on time. Peace, that's the best way. And I feel it's very nice. It's, as Parshuraman said, it's a heaven. Language and it's food, it's still, I think we can all adjust that. And language, you can always learn here. In 2-3 years time, you can have that conversational level, I feel, because we Indians, we have around 3-4 languages already. We learn at our schools, and in our what do you call, from a Tamil guy can learn Malayalam or Kannada, and we know Hindi, English. So like three languages definitely we know. So I think it'd be easy for us to learn the fourth one. But yeah, I think it's a very good place. I welcome everybody to Japan. And now one more thing I want to add about startups. The Japan and Tokyo always has a biggest startup event called Sushi Tech. It happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, a month ago, May 8th it was. And a lot of Indian startups has come. And still I feel Indian startup has not penetrated to the Japan market. And a lot of funds are available, especially on the HR, real estate, tourism. So I request all the startups, please, if you need any help, contact me on LinkedIn or wherever, through you or WTC or through BCACI. There is a lot of opportunity for funds. So it's a very good thing for startups. It's really happening. And I feel we should not be late. Just want to conclude
That's great.
with that. Yes.
Mr. Makoto, any suggestions in lifestyle, maybe the rental agreements, how they should be done, or give us a 2-minute perspective on living in Japan.
Okay, thank you. In regard to rental agreements, Japanese rental agreements are fairly simple. I don't know what Indian rental agreements look like, but compared to like United States rental agreements, Japanese rental agreements are very simple, and you don't see really crazy kind of terms in the agreements. And so there's really not really, unfortunately, there's really not much to really talk about in Japanese rental agreements. They're pretty straightforward, to tell you the truth. And
And what about getting a license, a driving license? Is that also possible? Is it pretty straightforward in Japan for an Indian?
Right, yes. If you have a driver's license in your country, in India, then I believe I understand that you can obtain a Japanese driver's license fairly simply. It's actually becoming an issue in Japan that foreigners are coming to Japan and getting the Japanese driver's license very easily. So they might change the rules in the future, but currently it's actually very simple. You take basically a very simple written test, and that's basically it. That's what I hear.
And Mr.
So,
Parsuram, any suggestions from your side on lifestyle?
So the lifestyle, in fact, a lot of learnings. Even when you cross the road, how you should cross the road. The children gate, the young students are taught with flags they gate. That's why the discipline is molded from the beginning. From childhood, the NCC, Scouts. I think it's amazing to see the parents and teachers, molding these children. That's where the cultural foundation. And in fact, there are a lot of, not very expensive shops also. The beauty of Japan, in fact, 100-yen shop is very popular across Japan. Any item you get it for 100 yen. 100 yen is 50 rupees or 60 rupees. Amazing, including calculators. So such kind of options are also there. And, the Waribiki, the discount sale is very, very popular, which means every store will have a discount of 50% discount, sometimes in the off seasons, clothings, food, anything and everything. You think, it's got a time period, which means beyond the time you can get it for, amazing prices. So, that way also not to worry. And, the transportation is not to worry at all. Everywhere, the public transportation, the trains are so beautiful, so connected. And in fact, you'll be surprised to see the trains don't have any conductors also. The trains are all people manage themselves. And in all the buses, there will be only one driver, there is no conductor, which means it is a trust of people and that kind of discipline. And most of the supermarkets, there is no billing counter. You have to, whatever you take, you have to bill it yourself and pay it and come out, which means it's an amazing place. And I think it's a great enjoyment for, I would say, families. Because you can go to Meghalaya or any big supermarkets. You have got many, many supermarkets around every area. And the kind of discount sales, of fresh items, and new kind of excitements is really mind-boggling. And, I love it. So I will stop it there.
We started with the fact that Japan is like bonsai and India is like bamboo. But we hope that, with this conversation, there can be a hybrid, a bonsai bamboo hybrid, and, we can all come together. And from the comments that are coming on, it looks like everybody is very, very excited about, Japan after our conversation, and they want to know more. But unfortunately, we've run out of time. And speaking to a Japan on a forum on Japan, I cannot cross the time after having Mr. Parsuram mentioned so much about time has to be exact and perfect. So with that I hand it over to Vivek and April, and it was great talking to you, and I hope everybody got a flavor of discovering Japan.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. A big thank you to Mr. Karnvir Mundre for leading this conversation so beautifully. And it was such an enriching discussion. To our speakers, of course, Mr. Jishnu Madhavan, thank you for listing out all those steps, the practical steps that MSMEs can take, ranging from visa types and how they can start up the work culture and all of that. Those are really helpful. And thank you, Mr. Makoto, for your advice on the legal aspects. I remember how you started off the discussion with 3 solid points about having a tax advisor, an immigration lawyer, and also finding a reliable partner in Japan. Thank you for your input, sir. Thank you, Mr. Parshuraman. I echo what Karnvir sir said, that it was indeed a mini MBA session, starting with those 8 Ps. I tried noting some of them down, but it was definitely a lot to take in. But something that stood out for me and probably a takeaway for me on my job would be about how you said how their culture is to reflect on each step that you take, stabilize it before you move on to the next one. So that's something that stood out for me. Thank you so much for your input, sir.
Thank you.
A special thanks to our partners, the Bangalore Chamber and WTC Tokyo. Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi, for your opening remarks and setting the context. And also to Colonel Harish and Ms. Rajeshri and everyone from the BCIC team for joining in and for supporting us. And to everyone who joined as the audience, thank you for being here and for your questions. You really made the session engaging. We will be back with more sessions of Discovery series, discovering more destinations going forward. Do follow us on social media and our website to get the updates. I will be posting on LinkedIn about this session, and do share your feedback and comments on that. I will also send you an email with the details. For those who I saw in the chat that some of you have asked for the recording, do reply to my email so that I can share the recording of this webinar with you. So thank you so much, everyone, once again, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
No more.